Hi guys, Scott Ludwig with the Fitness Circuit and Ignite Fitness Camps. Just a quick video about FDA Math, if you will. Some of you have already know this or have heard it from me before. Those of you who haven't, I definitely want you to be aware of it. Just 2 points we're going to touch on right now, and that is what can be called a fat-free item, and also we're going to talk about ratios of fat and protein and that sort of thing, particularly with something like a ground beef option. Just so you know that you need to be careful with reading labels and pay attention enough so that you can keep within the diet parameters that you're attempting to stay within. So the first thing is what can be called a fat-free item. And the FDA has put it out that anything that has less than a half gram of fat per serving can be called fat-free. The limitation that has come with that, though, is that the companies that are making the foods are dictating the serving size. So you get something that if they make the serving size small enough that it has less than a half a gram of fat, 0.4, and it could be called fat-free, even though that's not true. The most glaring example would be your fat-free cooking sprays. Now, fat-free cooking spray, go grab one right now, and outside of the aerosol, the first ingredient, and actually I think just the first ingredient, would be something like canola oil. If you grab a container of canola oil, it's 14 grams of fat per tablespoon, 12 to 14, and nothing else. No protein, no carbohydrates. It's just fat, all fat. That's all canola oil is. And the first ingredient on a cooking spray is canola oil. So the item is fat. The way that they get away with it is that the serving size on most of the cooking sprays is 1/3 of a second spray, which is a ridiculously small amount, and no one only uses 1/3 of a second. But because that's less than half a gram per that serving size, they can call it fat-free. So you need to be aware of those sort of things. Another one that I'm just thinking of now is like cholesterol-free items. Now, cholesterol only comes from animal products. So cholesterol-free popcorn. Well, unless they're adding a certain fat to it that comes from an animal, say like butter, there would be no cholesterol in it. Cholesterol-free peanut butter. Well, peanuts are not an animal product, so there's no cholesterol in it. So there's still fat in those items, in the peanut butter in particular, but sometimes they lure you in with this cholesterol. Oh, it must be better. So just be aware of that stuff. So fat-free, less than half a gram of fat per serving. Be careful of the serving size. That could be your ice cream, that could be whatever. And even when it comes to items outside of fat, look at the serving size. Sometimes you real quickly look at something like a richer ice cream and say, oh, I can't believe it, it only has 180 calories per serving, to realize that a serving size is like 1/8 of a cup or something ridiculous like that. So be aware of that stuff. So the FDA math that we're going to talk about today is, in particular, ground beef. And so I think the most common ground beef out there sold is 80/20. Right? Hopefully most of our clients are buying something leaner if you're using it, but this is the most common example. So what do you think when you see something like that? Well, you think, well, this is 80% non-fat items, particularly most of you would be thinking protein, and 20% fat. Which is true by weight. Okay, so what's the problem? Well, the problem is that protein has approximately 4 calories per gram, and fat has approximately 9 calories per gram. Okay, so let's take 100 grams of 80/20 ground beef. So we know that 80 grams are from protein. We know that protein is 4 calories per gram, so we get 320 calories. We get 20 grams of fat per 100 grams. We know that's 9 calories per gram, equals 180. For a total of 500 calories per 100 grams of this ground beef. Well, if we divide 180 by 500, we get 36% fat and 64% protein. 36, quite a bit different than 20%. So by weight is a little bit of a misleading example when they're labeled, because you're thinking calories. We don't make our diet choices by grams of a certain amount of thing. We usually make it by calories. And just so that you're aware that when they're talking 80-20 and something like your ground beef, they're actually talking weight. But if you know now that there's a different amount of calories per gram for protein versus fat, and even for protein or for carbohydrates versus fat, that in that scenario you're actually getting 36% of the calories are coming from fat, not 20. So again, you should be buying leaner than that anyway, but even 90-10 is not only 10% calories by fat, it's higher than that. So I need you to be aware of that. Just a quick tip, make sure you're reading those labels well and making good choices with the diet. Take care, we'll see you soon.